So today, what I would like to do is disprove the 666 number of the beast theory. What I want to do first is show you what John saw in the book of Revelation. He saw this. All right. So they claim that the first one, the X, is 600. Well, what I'm going to go ahead and do is go to Google, and I'm going to find 600 in the Greek, and I'm going to have Google pronounce it for you.
Αριθμό 600.
All right? Now, when you look at the number in Greek, it looks nothing like this. All right. How about 60? The number 60 in Greek. Well, let's see here. I can't get it to pull up the pronouncement. But the other point is, on the last one right here, you cannot find this particular one. On the right, you cannot find that anywhere in the Greek alphabet or in the Greek numbers, period. That right there disproves the whole 666 theory. In order to find out what exactly it is that John saw, we must remember that the city, Rome, not Greece, but Rome, was the beast of the days in John, was the beast of the days in Yeshua the Messiah. Now, there is somebody who wrote an article which is very, very interesting, but it eventually slides into an incorrect path. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a little bit of it. It's by Kimberly Rogers, and she's right about a few things in it. And I'm going to go over those few things that she's right about. And I'm going to point out the things that she's wrong about. So I'm going to read word for word what she's saying here to a point. The article is called The Real Mark of the Beast. And it says, today the Vatican and Islam are closely associated with each other. The day is coming when this alliance will result in forcing people to take this mark, accepting Islam as the one world religion. The second beast of Revelation 13 is Islam, and his mark is the Bismillah with the cross swords, the 666 of Christian myth. Nothing, it seems, divides true Christians more than end times prophecy, and there's nothing that true Christians want to know more than what is the mark of the beast. Please, folks, if this is true, when she says that there's nothing more that true Christians want to know than what the mark of the beast is, I'm going to show you today what the mark of the beast really is. And I'm going to prove to you that the people who call themselves true Christians will reject what I'm telling you. Okay, I'm going to continue. This is in her words now, according to the book of Revelation, the mark is both a name and a number. That's not what it says. It says mark or the name or the number of his name. The mark or the name or the number of his name. That's what it says. She claims that the mark is both a name and a number. No, it's not. I'll get to that in a little bit. We will know the beast when we know the mark. How about his image? Anyway, I'm interjecting here when I shouldn't. So she says, I spent a lot of time investigating the mark of the beast prior to making the all-important realization that will be revealed here. Like most other Christians, I looked at tattoos, RFID chip, and nanotechnology. It seemed so obvious that any of these could fulfill the prophecies as marks that go in the forehead and the hands. This is the first criteria that Bible believers look for when they're searching for the mark of the beast. While we are correct in doing this, it makes more sense to look at the mark as literally that, a mark. Do you remember the mark of Cain? I used to ask every preacher I ran into about the nature of it. I wanted to know what it looked like. None could answer me. It wasn't until I began studying the Bible from a Jewish and Jerusalem-centric viewpoint that I learned something critical about the mark of Cain. And she's right about this. You do need to study this from a Jewish and Jerusalem-centric viewpoint. Otherwise, you'll never get it. Rabbinical literature teaches that it was the Hebrew letter Tav. Now, interestingly enough, the Greek letter Ta is very similar to the Hebrew letter Tav. The Tav looks like this, except not in 3D, but in 2D. This is more like in 3D, that's 2D. Okay. The Jews referred to it as the sign. During the time before Yeshua the Messiah was born, those with ears to hear and eyes to see were able to discern that he was the Messiah because they were looking for the sign. That is one of the reasons why so many Jews converted to the Jewish sect the way that is so called in the book of the Acts. This sign right here, turned this way, is a symbol for sin. We see it in the beginning and in the middle of Jerusalem-centric history, and now we will see that the same mark in the end. The sign, that particular sign, is what the rabbis believe marked Cain. It was a sign of his sin. It was accepted in so-called Christianity as a symbol for the cross, where the Messiah took up himself in the sins of Israel and died. Of course, the crucifixion cross and the cross that marked Cain, this is what she's saying, would be the same. They are both symbols of sin. You see, Yeshua was hung on a pole, not a cross. Nevertheless, one is a man marked with sin, and the other is the Son of Jehovah removing sin. She claims the cross stands for both. No. The cross stands for sin, and the one who was hung on the pole was one who stands for the removal of sin. In the visible symbol of the entry of sin into the world, a symbol of its removal. So if the end of the world is like the beginning, we can expect to see this mark again, and we do. John was told to write what he saw. I believe he did just that. I believe he wrote exactly what he saw and once again, I agree with this woman. He did write exactly what he saw. It is as literal, simple, and direct as that. He said people would wear a 666 on their forehead and right arms. But what exactly did John see? Did he see 666 as we see it today? No. We use Arabic numerals. In the Greek text, 666 is represented by Greek letters that also have numerical values, specifically chi, or chi, chi, and stigma. But the problem is, as I pointed out, you cannot find this in the Greek numerology anywhere. I have looked. It's not there. It's not there. Therefore, it cannot mean 603 score and 6. So what John saw, she says, was something that looked like chi, chi, and stigma. It doesn't. It absolutely does not. Being worn on the forehead and right arm of the multitude who belong to the beast. All right, this is where I'm going to stop. She is absolutely correct that the Muslims carry this. They wear that on their arm and on their forehead by armbands and headbands. But this is a number, this right here is a number of somebody's name in Roman. Christos. Are you shocked? You shouldn't be. Christos. When you think of Christos, and you have an image in your mind, what do you see? You see a graven image. You see an image that's not supposed to exist. You see an image of a Roman personage that is not Yeshua Messiah. He is the son of one of the kings at the Vatican, who Leonardo da Vinci drew up so that the people could worship something non-Jewish. And later they called his name Jesus. Originally it was Jesus. Jesus is in honor of Zeus. It is true that this symbol right here, turned as a T, does mean sin. This way, as an X, is Christos. Go look it up. It is a sign, it is the number of Christos. The Roman numeral of Christos. Now, let's go to Revelation. This is in Revelation 14. While the 144,000 are with the Lamb on Mount Zion, 3 angels fly in the midst of heaven, in verse 6, having the everlasting gospel. And I've shown you what the gospel is. The gospel is about bringing all Israel back. The 144,000 are of each and every single one of the tribes of Israel. There is no Gentile among them. And they represent Israel. gathering all Israel back, all of them. There are people who claim that the 144,000 are the only ones that are going to be saved. That is absolutely only ones of Israel that's going to be saved. That is absolutely false. They will be representatives of each and every one of the tribes of Israel coming before the king. And they were chosen because they have not been defiled by women. You know, if senators and congressmen in the United States today would be chosen, but one of the criteria was they have never been fooling around with women, I think you'd have a different kind of government today. Wouldn't you? Okay. So, it says, the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, to every nation, to every goyim, and kindred, and tongue, and people, saying with a loud voice, fear Jehovah, not God, Jehovah, and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come. The judgment is the 7 vials that are going to be poured out upon the Gentiles. And worship him that made heaven and earth and the sea and the fountains of water. And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Now, Rome's first fall, I know people will say, Henry, Rome fell several times. I'm talking about the second Rome. The one, Constantinople. That one, just like the Rome in Italy, had 7 mountains. But that Rome was destroyed by the 10 kings in 52 days, I believe it was, a very, very short period of time. And when it says they burned her with fire in 1 hour, when you look up the word hour, it just means a very short time. So it didn't take long. So, Babylon is prepared for the next fall. The first Constantinople was burned with fire and given over to the Muslims. The second one is also going to be burned with fire, because she made all nations, or the first one is also that's going to be saved for last. All nations drank of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man, listen, please listen very carefully. If any man worship the beast, and, that means and even also, his image, his statue, all Christianity, or 99% of Christianity today, worship an image, a statue that was created by the man at the Vatican for to worship. So this beast then that he's talking about, because there are 2. There's beast and the false prophet, the first beast and the second beast. The first beast is actually a group of nations. The second beast is a person. He sits in the Vatican. He sits on the imperial seat of the Caesars. Interestingly enough, right on top here says Codex Vaticanus AD 350. They have that in the Vatican. Yes, they do. It is all over the Vatican. and his image and receive his mark in his forehead. What do people do in nearly every Christian religion today on Ash Wednesday? They receive his mark, the mark of sin, in their forehead, the mark of Cain. Now we've got or, the word or, either or now, in his hand. What do they do when they, I don't know, I've never done it. So I don't even know how to do it, and I'm not even going to learn. But they do it with their right hand. They make that sign with their right hand. The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Jehovah, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and those people shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. The smoke of their torment ascends up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receives the mark of his name. The mark of his name means Christos. Doesn't mean Messiah, it means Christos. A name that was tied to pagan gods. A title that was tied to pagan gods. Now, as I've said, just like when I picked apart this article, you cannot make this 666. It's not possible. Absolutely impossible. And yet, this is how they have fooled the masses into believing that somehow that means 666. So, you saw the warning, you heard the warning. Are you going to still go and receive the mark of sin, the mark of the beast on your forehead on Ash Wednesday? If you do, you will drink of the wine of the wrath of Jehovah. You will. Because you are attached to Rome, that evil city who murdered the saints, the Jews, and those who followed Yeshua. They murdered them. And you will be a partaker of those crimes. The same as somebody who wears a swastika is a partaker in the crimes of the Nazis. So are those who wear that sign, as they claim the cross on their forehead, are participants. They have made themselves participants in all the crimes against the Jews and those who followed Yeshua from 300. Well, no, we'll go all the way back to 67 AD until now. It's just that simple. This is how you're going to be looked at. You're going to be looked at as a perpetrator. The choice is yours. You don't have to have that sign on your forehead. You don't have to make that sign with your right hand. You don't have to bow down and worship to that Roman graven image. That graven image where there is no sign of a Jew on it whatsoever. But what are people going to do? They don't want to lose their father, mother, sister, brother, wife, children for Yeshua's sake. They will bow down to a false Messiah, wear the sign of sin, the sign of Cain, and do every imaginable evil under the sun so that they may retain or remain in the good graces of this world. First John 2, verse 15. Love not the world, neither the things that are in this world. Take a look around you. What do you see on every street corner? That's the things of this world. That image. The image of the beast. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him.